Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Welcome to All About Racing here at Interlagos, Brazil for their third round of the season. This circuit is an anti-clockwise circuit, 2 DRS zones, 15 corners, 10 to the left and 5 to the right. It's 4.309 kilometres and 2.67 miles in length. My name is Joe, it's British Hong Kong, this is my PSN name. And I'm joining you for the season of the Champions tier and others as well, mixing and matching the tyres for the season of the C4 soft, C3 medium and C2 hard tyre. On to the standings. We've got Zoltane is leading the championship on 70 points, 1 point behind is FLW on 69, 68 points for Trouser. Rochester is on 50 points and in 5th place is Hazard on 48 points. The constructors standings, Aston Martin leading the way on that one with 116 points, 83 points for Haas, and Mercedes are on 81 points in 3rd. Apologies for my laptop's been playing up a little bit today. We should get a reconnection. There we go, so apologies for that. Hassan Toya coming up to the line now to complete his lap. It's a 1:10.060, not the best of times from him. We've got Tiny on an out lap as we get Cheese finishing his lap down in 9th place. Who else is on their lap at the moment? We're looking at Colmate. He's just come to the line now. 6th fastest for him, a 18.2 dead as it goes, and he's 6th fastest at the moment. We've got the Mercedes of DSL Brad on provisional pole position for now. If everyone could, you're watching obviously the Champions tier here in Power Grid Racing League in their 3rd round of Brazil. Got multiple tiers going on today, and if you could give a subscribe to the All About Racing YouTube channel, it'd be appreciated. Also got on Instagram as well, and as you can see on the top of the banner, at the top of the page on the banner is all of Power Grid's social medias as well, so make sure you give them a follow on all their platforms. They've also got a YouTube page which we couldn't squeeze in, as we see Hazard coming around the final corner of Juncal and up the hill now towards the line. It's a never-ending ascent towards the start-finish line. As he goes 4th fastest. We've got QX Gamer in the RB, who's on a lap at the moment. Very used to seeing him on the All About Racing YouTube channel, formerly RTGTV. If you're joining us from weeks gone by for the first time in a couple of weeks, the channel has been rebranded to host a load of different leagues, 3 different races, 3 different leagues, 3 different races in the week, Tuesdays, Wednesdays and Saturdays, 8, 8:30 and 8 o'clock respectively. Young Cal dealt with by QX Gamer as he makes his way up the hill again, this ascent towards the line. We have a predicted pole time of a 107.3 here at Interlagos. As QX Gamer comes to the line, it's 108 dead for him, and we're on a 108.7 is the fastest time as of now. Lovely to see you guys in the comments. Yeah, thanks for the welcomes, guys. And hopefully you all enjoy the stream. So there's your predicted pole time as Brushman comes to the line. He's 16th fastest for him. He must have been on a cool down lap. We'll ride on board through the Centre S and beyond throughout this lap here at Interlagos as he makes his way through Curva de Sol and goes over the curve and invalidate his time. Still 3 drivers yet to set laps, but realistically it's more like 4, as that 125 isn't a representative lap time. Blue and Sol coming around Curva de Sol and on towards turns 4 and 5, of course, to see Del Lago after you've dealt with the Retro-Aposta straight, and now through that second left of Curva de Sol and then into Ferragula, which is 6 and 7, as we plateau up the hill into now turn 8. As we go on into the last sector of the lap, Pico de Pato dealt with, Meridula dealt with, and now Juncal, the final braking zone of the lap, arguably the most important, as you've got this long straight where your foot flats to the floor for over a kilometre, and he's got himself a little tow here. As it another Ferrari, it must be, because we've only got one red car on the grid from this year, of course, with Kick Sauber taking over the reins of Alfa Romeo. His Blue and Soul goes on to provisional pole with a 107.7, still around 3/10 off that predicted pole time. Our man Play in the Williams, one of 2 drivers yet to set their laps. Meridula, he's going through now as we get Brad go on to provisional pole by a smidgen there, just pipping Blue and Soul. As we get Fraser crossing the line in the McLaren. It's Mercedes, Ferrari, McLaren, RB, Sauber and Williams, Haas, Aston Martin, the top 8 different teams as it stands. Our man goes across the line and then Bab behind him in the Haas goes on to provisional pole with a 107.6. The track is really ramping up in the final stages of qualifying as we've got less than 10 minutes to go as we're watching Ratigan. And I'm sorry, apologies if I butcher anyone's names today. Let me know in the Discord, give me a DM and let me know how it's supposed to be said, if I'm anywhere close or not. So apologies for today. I will make mistakes. Is the McLaren driver here who seems to have made a couple of mistakes in that middle sector as he comes through Pico de Pato and onto the fast downhill left into Juncal. I think he's backed out of the lap and will probably be prepared to go again as the sun peaks out and goes over the circuit, which means the track temperature will come up, and the McLarens are giving each other a bit of a tow here, a helping hand to the line. And will he let him through? And then will Fraser get a tow back later on in the session? 14th fastest for the McLaren driver, 108.283 for him. So, getting some info in the comments, going to have some rain right towards the end of the session. That will be very interesting to see. Definitely mix things up as the two McLarens are very close together. Had all the drivers set lap times, but Brushman still yet to set a competitive lap time. That 125.5 needs to be beaten, and beaten by quite a distance as we come up to the line to start another lap here at the Interlagos circuit. Just have a moment of silence, Ashman, throughout his lap, unless he invalidates in the process. So as you can see, he was 11 seconds up in that middle sector. As he comes up towards the line now, we'll see what lap time it's going to be from him. It's a 107.9. It's just into the top 10, and we've only got 6/10 or so separating that top 10, top 11 actually, to be precise. So very close. It is a shorter circuit here, so it is to be expected more than, let's say, a circuit like Spa or Silverstone, something like that, as we see Tiny in the Red Bull start his lap, as I said, a usual to the channel, and it's still going to be in 2 days of the weekend content on All About Racing, with Worldwide Racing on a Saturday night as well, along with obviously what you're watching this evening, Power Grid on that Tuesday night around 8 o'clock every Tuesday for the foreseeable future. As Tiny is dealt with Pica de Passo. And now on towards the final corner. Got a few left-handers here. It's no braking zone, so it doesn't really feel like corners, as the DRS should have been opened, but Tiny comes in not happy with the lap time he was going to set there. So, reasonably quiet track for having a full grid this evening, as Bab actually starts a lap now. Well, if he did, he thought to abandon it very quickly. Scotty. It's hard to say if some of these guys are on laps or not, because some of them have got actually quite low battery towards the end of the lap, but obviously it's just where you decide to use it throughout. But you would sort of think that maybe saving a bit for this straight up towards the line, but he will come in, Scotty, as he has backed out of his lap. The track is about to get very, very busy indeed, with this short qualifying session coming to an end shortly, and only 3 drivers, make that 2 drivers, out on the circuit. Cod has just started a lap and then ruins it by riding all over the curbs of Curva de Sol turn 3. Has he got enough time to get in and get back out again? That is the question. As Cod is now gone off the circuit again, and drivers are just about to come out on the circuit by the looks of things. So I'll just close some of my windows down on my laptop, because I think that's what's making the stream slightly laggy, so apologies for that. It should be alright now, as we've only got the OBS studios up. As Tegan just started a lap. Messed it up within a few corners as Tiny just starts what looks to be his final lap. The Scotsman trying to get further up the field here in Brazil as we go down the Reta Aposta. We make our way up the hill through Ferragula, which is 6 and 7, now turn 8, which actually doesn't have a corner name. And into Pica de Passo, turn 10. Marigulio, Marigula, whichever one. I hear it's hear both pronunciations of it over the years, and then Juncal, which is junction in English, junction in Spanish, should I say, as we come up to the line now with the Red Bull driver, 17th and 19th at the moment, but it's only 2 places gained and just under half a second in lap time gained, but he does not have time to get back round and get another lap in. The track, as I said, very, very busy. 19 of the 20 drivers out on the circuit as of right now. And I think he's just about to start his final attempt. And can he take it one step further? Stocker coming up to the line now. This is his final lap. It's even faster. It's faster than the predicted pole. It's a 107.385 for the Sauber driver. Who is up next as the checkered flag is only around 10 seconds away? It's one of the Haas drivers. It's Sultan who's coming up to the line in that Haas, but he dives into the pits before he sees the checkered flag. It's hard to tell who's next with all the blues coming up. Scotty goes across the line, and then Blue in Soul gets himself onto the front row with a 107.5, slightly up on his previous attempt. As we wait for more cars to get to the line, and we'll try and see as Matt F1 as Bab goes on to provisional pole here with a 107.2, slightly faster than Stuka, who is down on his lap time, so he's not going to be able to get on pole and improve. As Little Pigeon goes ninth. Fastest is Armin, and Ratiga yet to set a lap, but Armin yet to finish their final lap, but Armin isn't going to be able to finish it because they have invalidated their lap time. Ratigan is the last driver to see the checkered flag in qualifying, but I don't think he's going to complete it as we're getting into almost the 1 minute 20, so that's it. Bab is on pole position for the start of round 3 in Brazil in the challenge here. So here you go with the tyres as we're on the formation lap. Bab and the 6 behind him have started on the mediums. The only driver in the top 10 starting on the hards is Hazard. We've got 4 more joining him on the hard tyres. We've got a bit of a spread of medium, hard and soft tyre in the bottom half of the field. And then the bottom 2 on that back row, the 10th and final row, both starting on the soft tyres. So it'll be interesting to keep an eye on them, where they will end up. So just waiting for them to get onto the grid as we see the last cars coming up towards the final braking zone of the lap. Young Cal. As we make sure to get everything on charge so it doesn't die throughout the race. As we see one disqualification already as we line up with the drivers on the back row. We get an awful angle as we do when there is a formation lap, unfortunately, but we'll have to make do with what we've got. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 red lights, and we're away for the start of Power Grids round 3 in Brazil, as Baba gets a good launch here off the start as we go into turn 1. However, Stuka gets an even better launch and he's alongside through the centre S, and now around the curve of the Sol. They almost make contact actually at turn 3 as we now go down the Reta Aposta towards the Cesar Largo, and there's polystyrene flying in the background there as we go around turn 4 and 5. Bab still staying in the lead of the race as we go through Ferrajula. It's single file racing pretty much throughout, whereas Scotty thinks, no, I'll go side by side with someone as we go in to turn 8. However, he has to sit back for now as Pigeon going alongside Fraser here up the inside at Pica de Pato, and he's up into 7th place. 2 places gained so far. His Trouser up into the top 10. 3 places gained for him, and then Tiny and Mackencheese have both gained 4 places. And the biggest gainer so far is Hastonia, who is sitting down in 15th, but they gained 5 places at the start. That'll be those soft tyres that they put on at the very start. His DRS is enabled. Bab takes the fastest lap, and Stuka is on the attack here at turn 1. And as I said, DRS enabled, and the first time you're going to get it is down here, down the Reta Aposta as we go. Foot flat to the floor, DRS open, giving you around 12 miles an hour of extra speed. But it's no good going into Cesar Largo for Stuka, as Blue and Soul still in 3rd place, as we've got 2 drivers who have entered the pits so far. So just a quick look on compounds and performances. As you can see, the softs are going to be doing around a 109, a 109.2 for the mediums, so not a big drop off for them. And then we're looking at a 109.6 for the hard tyre. And in terms of time lost for the Delta, it's not much indeed, as you can see there. As we go on to lap 3, is the fastest lap is changing hands pretty much with every car crossing the line. Then we'll go back to those tyre info. It's got some more info to show you a little later on as well. It's Brashman getting past Call Me into turn 1, 17th place for them. As Quix Gamer and JTC, it looks like it's going to be a one-stop strategy, soft to medium, medium to hard tyres. Potentially there's a bit of a mix actually of strategies there. Like we saw about 4 strategies pop up on the screen there as we go through Ferrajula with the leaders. Blue and Soul very close to the back of that Mercedes as they go into turn 8. And now turn 9, the long 180-degree banked corner. Be very careful on the throttle pedal as you exit the corner. As we just go down the hill and just rise up slightly into Young Cal, and then as in qualifying, the big ascent up towards the line. About to start lap 4 of 36 here at Brazil. And Stuka decides, hit the starter lap 4, he wants that first place position, goes up into the lead, inside line for him, easily done by the looks of things, but is he going to be defending down towards Decido Lago with Bab getting the DRS back at him again, down the Retta Aposta, but behind him we've got Brad, Blue in Soul and Zolta, by the looks of things, getting very close together as Blue in Soul gets that third place position, as it looks like there was a couple of drivers maybe made contact there as Zolta goes up into fourth place and Stuka loses the lead, and the two Haas cars getting involved in overtakes at the same time as Matt F1 getting very close to the back of Mac and Cheese as they go through turn 6 and 7, of course you know it is Ferradula, and then turn 8 and 9. So as we go up the hill to start lap 5, Stuka again trying to take the position down the front straight here as we go on to that 5th lap in the same place as he did the lap before. He takes the lead of the race again, but will he be able to hold on to it for an entire lap this time around, as we've got a caution here, we've got a safety car deployed, and I pressed the wrong button there, apologies for that. We have, oh, it's done it again. Keeps taking me back to that. I don't know why it does that. I need to click that a few times. We'll do it properly this time around. There we go. Safety car deployed for the first time today. And Hastonia is out of the race. Call Me is now into the pits. Apologies for the mishap there as Hastonia is out and causes that safety car. Quayex Gamer decides to stay out, and what are the leaders going to do here is wait for Stocker to come around the final braking zone of Junkel. He's got about 10 seconds or so to decide what he's going to do at this point. Is it a bit too early to pit? You would think so. We'll get the tyres up, have a look at that. All the drivers in the top 8 are on the mediums. Do they all pit? No, they do not. There's a bit of a divide between them deciding whether to go in or not. Just remember, it's a 10-second time penalty at the moment in F1 24 to speed in the pit lane, so it's vital you get the car stopped before the pit lane entry line, as we now wait for Matt F1, but he goes past the pit lane. JTC, who pit early on, as well as Quayex Gamer, and that's why he stayed out, I think, just to get the track position back. Is Call Me Our Kid, there we go, got it in the end. Call Me Our Kid has gone on to the soft tyres, intermediate tyres for some drivers here. Does that mean the rain is about to come down? The clouds are overhead. This is a slight risk though under the safety car, because you could become a cropper even at low speeds and do a 180 360 or you know, even a 720 spin on inters. And the rain is just starting to fall. There you go. That might have been the perfect moment for them. They said the rain was going to be later on in the race. It's much earlier than expected. We're not even a quarter of the way through. And the rain is already coming down. Admittedly, not very much at the moment. But that may change bit later on. So the majority of the field now gone on to the intermediates. The top 5 still on dry tyres, probably not thinking that the weather is bad enough yet. It's a 22 degree air temperature, it's a 30 degree track temperature, and that should come down though when the rain starts to settle. I don't think we're at a point yet where it could settle, but there are heavy clouds overhead, so not going to be too much sunlight to pick the water back off the circuit again. We'll wait to see what the top 5 do here, whether they decide to stay out. This could be the last lap under the safety car as well. So maybe not. I think we might have one more lap here under the safety car by the looks. So got one more lap to do a bit more promotion. You're all watching the Power Grid Champions tier. There'll be a mix of 2 different tiers. It's a challenge one as well, I think I'm doing on a Tuesday night as well. So just a bit of a mix at the moment between 2 tiers. You've got the challenge tier this evening. I think it's the champions tier this evening, challenge tier next week. If you're enjoying the content and other racing content, we might get some upload videos from now on, because I've got a couple of different leagues. Might do some like moments of the week or highlights from the week from the different leagues, and obviously we can have sort of a competition who gets the top spot every week, something like that. So just hit that like button on the video if you're enjoying the content, and much appreciated, and subscribe to the channel as well. Like I said, racing 3 days a week, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Saturdays. I will update the YouTube channel over the next day or so to have the discords of the different leagues that I commentate on. So if you want to join the content and you're not a part of it and you just come across the channel, then you can do that as well. So there's also an Instagram for All About Racing as well. There'll be some content on there as well, as you can see at the bottom of your screen. And one thing we haven't had a look at is the terms of the pit stops and your discount in terms of the safety car and stuff. 22 seconds, 15 seconds in the rear seat or a safety car, and there's a 100% chance of a safety car there. High track abrasion. We've already seen that safety car, so that stat has lived up to its name. So, safety car in this lap, Bab dictating the pace and the restart when he wants to go. The rain is starting to come down, probably in his best interest to go early and hope that the slick tyres are still the best tyres in these conditions. He does get away now as we start lap 9 of 36 after a 3-lap safety car, as we see Brad going past Scotty, and then Scotty trying to fight back with the Ferrari ahead, just getting a bit skittish, and then a McLaren and a Sauber. Stuka and Ratiga are both off, as one of them was on the slick tyres. Maybe the intermediates are the right call up to now. Well, the dry is still the better tyres. I think it's kind of a crossover period, actually. It's 6 of one and half a dozen of the other by the looks of things. As we go up the hill into Ferragula, the top 4 need to try and work together here to move up places, as Brashman moves up into 8th place and then makes slight contact with the Aston Martin of Trouser. And just behind them, Zolta and JTC look like he clouted the wall there on the outside. Just before going into Pica de Pato is the intermediate tyre. The tyre to be on at this point is Blue and Sol trying to look up the outside of Young Cal. Maybe that's a sign that the intermediate is the best tyre, and it's time for those top 4 to come into the pits to change to those intermediates. But no, they stay out, and Tiny looking to take the race lead here. It's almost 3 wide down towards turn 1. Has Hazard broken a bit late there? No. Got it all under control in the end. It's first place for Hazard on the hard tyre, working well in these changeable conditions as Tiny comes to fight back here. DRS is not enabled. now with these conditions as well. And that's also a sign that the drivers on the slick tyres should get off them and onto a set of intermediates or wets, especially as those drivers on the intermediates are right on their gearbox, breathing down the top three's neck. As Hazard's starting to get a bit of a gap here, and the two that we're watching, Bab and Tiny, both out of shape here as we've got yellow flags flying and drivers making mistakes. And it's all very, very feisty in the midfield as well. But the top three still drivers on the slick tyres as we go through Maragulio. Oh, Stuka trying to go up the outside. There's a lot of traffic here as Tiny has been caught up in this now, and he's going to have to pit as Stuka gets clouted into on the exit of Young Cow as we ride up the hill. The drivers on the slick tyres now not in the best position, and Bab comes in. I think Tiny will follow suit as well. He does. They're going to make sure to get it stopped. They both didn't get it stopped. They both had 10-second penalties, and Hazard decides to stay out for one more tour. Another 2.6 miles for him to do in these conditions, as he's got the Mercedes of Brashman just behind him in second place. He's up 10 places from the start, now 11 places as he takes the lead of the race, and Blue and Soul looking to take that second place position, but he's got Brad on his outside, and then Hazard goes wide and they slot through, and Hazard is spun around and has been collected by another car by the looks of things. But has he got himself back underway already? I think he has. Has he got any damage? Not by the looks of things, but the weather starting to get heavier now, and that means that the water is going to actually now start to sit on the circuit as Pigeon, as you can see there, goes off the track, trying to get past Hazard on the slick tyres, the only one left on those slick tyres, and he's left it definitely a lap too late. Arguably the others left it a lap too late. So we go on to lap 12. Stuka goes back into a podium place position. He's been on fire in the last few laps after having an incident at this corner right here at the end of the safety car. He's made his way through, and it's been fabulous to see as we go down the Reta Aposta towards Desida del Lago for the 12th time. So I wonder if we'll have these conditions for the entirety of the race or not as we go through the final corner and up the hill once again. As we see a move here from Stuka to try and take that second place back again. As we go down the back straight, Brashman in the lead, down in 8th place in the championship at the moment. More overtakes happening here, the two Williams switching places. 7th and 8th at the moment, and the rain getting heavier. Arguably better conditions for the tyres underneath them, as it was a track that looked dry in some places. Zolta almost doing a bit of opposite lock there into Pica Tapato before they go through Majula. And a yellow flag flying again. That was either for the McLaren or Ferrari, Fraser or Pigeon. We didn't catch it though. Stuka now looking to take the lead of the race. Very comfortable in these wet conditions. And back into the race lead. He was there earlier on. As we go on to lap 14. Is he now going to sail on into the distance and become a small green dot in Brashman's view ahead of him? Or is he going to be able to stick with him? No DRS to help him stick with him either, of course, in these conditions. But as we look down, the fight for 13th very, very close, as we've got Muckin Chicken sizing up a move here to the outside for the Alpine versus the Racing Bull. He has to slot back behind the RB. Just as we were watching that, the corner just ahead of them, it's Pigeon and Fraser once again fighting for that final top 10 position. There's the two Williams once again switching places as we're about to go on to lap 15, and Stuka got himself a 1.3 second gap in the first lap after the safety car. He's lapping around 7/10 a lap faster than his rival Brashman just behind. A 1:18.9 on that previous lap. It's even more than that. It's 1.1 seconds this time around, as it was 1:18.9 and a 1:20 dead for Brashman. So a 1:18.6, sorry, not 1:18.9, 1:18.6, 1.4 seconds faster on that lap last time around, as Trouser goes up into third place. Inside line for him. He takes the high line and it works out nicely for him. Looks like Blue and Soul just kicked up a bit of dirt as Trouser does that as well on the exit of turn 5. So some pockets formed now. There's some breathing space between a few cars. Koyx Gamer very close to the back of Armin. Got two drivers on 3 second time penalties. That's Matt F1 and Tiny. JT Cod also having a 3 second time penalty. The other two got 10 seconds when they sped in the pit lane after the safety car restart, going from the slick tyres to the intermediate tyres as we go down the Retta Reposta towards Acida de Largo. 3 seconds is the gap between the top two. Another 1.2 seconds difference on the last lap, a 1 minute 19.3. Sorry, not looking at the right one. 118.5 for Stuka and a 120 dead for a Brashman. As Muck and Cheese getting past Scotty there at Acida de Largo. Whoa, look at that Trouser. Sliding the Aston Martin, treacherous in these conditions. I think drivers in F124 not liking the handling model, especially in wet conditions. You can really see it when they're trying to throw the car into a corner. It just wants to give it a big load of opposite lock in response. So the track temperature come down a few degrees now. We're at 27 degrees track temp and air temperature 22, with the rain obviously not yielding at all at the moment. You can see it with Brashman as well, the car sliding all over the place, almost looking like the quicker option as well. 4 seconds Stuka is now down the road as we go on to lap 17 and around the halfway point through the race. Zolta very close to the back of Brad, weighing up his options, thinking about where's the place to overtake, especially in these conditions. Looked like he almost collected him up there at turn 8. trying to get the car stopped. He definitely did brake a bit too late because he's lost a bit of that deficit. As Brad struggling over the curbs at Pica Tapato as well. As Magulio dealt with and into Young Cow. Final braking zone, even more important in these conditions, especially when you get your foot down on the loud pedal. As we now go up the hill, drivers should be using the battery a bit more. Of course, it charges up at a higher rate in wet conditions. As you can see there, it's alternate Curva de Sol making up his own track limits there. By the looks of things, he was all over the curve, straddling the curb. So Stuka super confident and comfortable in these conditions, just handling the car beautifully. Almost 6 seconds into the lead now as Call Me Our Kid is moved up into 11th place, and Fraser not wanting to yield, trying to hold on around the outside, but that's not going to work, so he has to slot back and wait to hopefully get the position back up towards turn 1 or at turn 4. So we're now on lap 19 of 36. These drivers here about to go on to lap 19 as Tiny moves up into 13th place after trying to make up places from losing them with the poor strategy call, staying out on the slick tyres. The ones that pit under the safety car to go to Inters made the right choice, and then Tiny thought about it once again, and the door was slammed shut by Muck and Cheese. Zolter again looked very close going into Ferragula. Not close enough though. Oh, has there been a spin or just a mistake? It looks like just a mistake from Fraser there to lose a couple of places. Is Tiny now eyeing up that 12th place. And Bab just got through into 14th place. The driver that started on pole now down in 14th place as Armin is off the circuit, back on just behind his Williams teammate. Is this Tiny's opportunity this time around as they exit Young Cal? He looks like he's got a very, very good exit as they go up the hill towards the CNRS. Call Me Our Kid has got himself a 3-second time penalty for exceeding track limits. Tiny now to the outside. He's going to have to be brave on the brakes here to get this done. He certainly is. As Call Me Our Kid gets a 3-second time penalty not long after QX Gamer gets a 3-second time penalty as well. In 8th place, the driver highest on the standings to have himself a time penalty. The top 7 yet to receive one. So, lap 20 of 36. It's been a very interesting race up to now with these conditions. It's getting wetter as well. Are we going to be thinking about the wet tyre, the extreme wet, in the not too distant future? We'll have to see. Our championship leader, Zoltan, is down in 6th place at the moment. I don't believe we have FLW tonight. And we've got Trouser down in third place in the championship, third place on the racetrack at the moment as well. As we go through Magulio, which is a whole different animal at this point in the race. In these conditions, we must be thinking about wet tyres at some point soon, because the weather is not getting better. It's just, oh, sorry, just needs not getting better, just getting worse at this point of the race. Is Trouser thinking the same thing as me there by the looks of things and coming into the pits? And it's a fresh set of intermediates rather than wet tyres. They don't think they can go the distance. Are people like Tiny, though, Muck and Cheese, are they going to be able to go the distance after staying out a bit longer on the slick tyre? We've got Call Me Our Kid, who's actually gone onto the wet tyre now, thinking it's that time. Certainly starting to look like that time. We'll see what our race leader Stuka does. He decides to stay out again as Brashman comes into the pits, making sure to get the car slowed down before that pit entry line. His teammate takes that third place position now on lap 23. Is it wets or a fresh set of inters? It's a fresh set of inters for Brashman as Tiny stays out. No surprise, he did come in later than others. Is anyone else going to go on to the wet tyre or a new set of inters? Armin goes on to a set of wet tyres. It's definitely a... Ooh, Armin. Yeah, it's definitely a mixed thoughts at the moment in terms of the strategy. The majority still thinking the inters, though, as we've only got two drivers on the wet tyre. Trouser finding grip, fresh grip on the new intermediate. He's got to make the most of it in these next few laps until others decide to come in or risk it and take their tyres to the end, hoping that we don't actually all have to go to the wet tyres. So Stuka getting close to having a full pit stop advantage. He's closer to having one than his rival's car. As we have Jay saying in the chat that as soon as we start seeing some puddles on the circuit, it's time for the wet tyres. I don't think we're too far away from there, actually. There's a slightly drier line, obviously, with the racing line, but around it, there's definitely starting to see some what looks like potential puddles forming. But it started to look like the race has turned into a race of strategy more than anything else. And who has the bravery, the courage to stay out for the entire race. As we got a safety car deployed, that might change up the consensus among the grid. They may all come in for a fresh set of inters. Are they going to come in for a set of wets? And we're going to see sort of the same idea as we saw under the last safety car. We went from dries to inters. We're going to see inters to wets under under the safety car, should I say. And there's a safety car coming out of the pits. He's waiting to collect this man, Stuka. I'm sure he'll come into the pits before then. I think Ratigan might be lucky here and be able to get back onto the lead lap as Bab is retired from the session. Only our second retiree. Now we've had 3 retirements from the session. Unfortunately 2 in the space of 2 seconds there. So, looking like a 50-50 split almost, with drivers deciding to take a fresh set of inters and some deciding to go on to a wet set, obviously a fresh set as well. We haven't used them so far today. And we should have 9-10 laps once the safety car comes in. And the rain is definitely getting heavier. I think we're at a crossover point between the two types of wet tyre here. And we'll see. There's Ratigan. Been able to unlap themselves. It looks like they have. As the safety car is now on the race leader, it is McLaren 16th and 17th. So we're going to have a slight wait for them to catch up by the looks. So, one more time, I promise. Thanks very much everyone who's tuned in so far, in and out. You know, it's been much appreciated. Really enjoyed the first sort of 3 quarters of this stream. First stream I've done for Power Grid. So hopefully it's good enough for you guys to subscribe to the channel. You're watching the 3rd round of the season on Power Grid Racing. Really hope that you're enjoying the content. Three days of racing, as I've said previously. Should we get that mic a little bit closer? Having some issues. Oh, is that better? That looks like that's better. Yeah, so thanks very much everyone who's tuned in so far. Make sure you're giving a big thumbs up to the video, hitting the notification bell. So we'll put the link in the Discord every week, but just in case you missed that, appreciate a subscribe as well. Getting close to 410 subscribers now. Very much appreciated. Subscribe to or follow all of the Power Grid socials as well, as you can see at the top of the channel, and the All About Racing socials at the bottom of the screen as well. Looks like one more lap under the safety car. I think we're going to have around 8 laps of racing to decide this third round in the Champions tier. So some drivers now deciding that the wets are not the right tyre, gone back to the intermediate. Stuka must be quite annoyed with this situation. He gained such a big advantage, 14 seconds or so. He's just got to reset and do what he did before. It worked last time. It should be able to work for him again. You would hope so anyway. As we wait for the final 2 cars, the 2 McLarens, to catch up. I think Rattigan will be able to catch up. Just about. I think the safety car can do one more lap after this one. As we wait for Rattigan. And the safety car's in this lap anyway. It's not going to wait for him to catch back up. And he did catch back up right at the last moment anyway. So we're going to get racing on lap 29. We're going to have 8 laps of racing to the checker flag as Stuka gets underway just before the pit lane entry. We go on to lap 29 of 36. The weather has yet to yield. We're still in these wet conditions. It may be actually just starting to slow down now as we get to the end of that safety car. So you've already seen an overtake at the centre S there, just missed it unfortunately. Matt F1 getting past QX Gamer there as we go through turn 4 and 5, a 3-second time penalty for Brad. 4 drivers with time penalties. All of them have 3 seconds. The other drivers were able to get rid of their 10-second speeding in the pit lane penalties under that last safety car. The weather is definitely getting better. It's slowing down, but I think we're going to have intermediate conditions all the way to the end. But the drivers who went on to the wets, there's still 2 drivers on the wet tyres, Zoltan and 11th place Hazard. They may have made a poor decision there, as Tiny is only a couple of tenths behind. This is Q actually, with Cheese at the front of it, trying to hold off cars behind as we go on to lap 30 of 36. Stuka not being able to make the progress he made earlier on in the race. Keep an eye on that battle for the lead. His Trouser has been able to get closer actually. Oh, and then if you watch Brad go off the circuit, it's Mercedes 3-4 at the moment. It'd be excellent points for them. And they are sitting in 3rd place in the Constructors' Championship with 81 points, only 2 points behind the 2nd place team of Haas, who are only going to be having 1 driver score points today, Zoltan. There are 50 points for a race win. I haven't been able to get the graphic to put it up on the screen today, so do apologise for that for any newcomers. And I'm just going back and I'm just having a little look for the points. There we go, there's the point system. You're looking at 50 points for a win, 42 for second, so an 8-point gap. You get fastest lap point as well, that's 1 point. There is points all the way down to 20th with 1 point at the end, but the top three are 50, 42 and 37, 33 for 4th, 30 for 5th place. 10th place gets yourself 16 points, so a decent amount of points even going down to 10th place. Big battle going on here, and Quix Gamer almost into the wall there, but he was able to keep it on the racetrack just about. Cod getting past Zolta there, and then Zolta being collected by another car. He's got himself back right again. He hit the wall square, so it doesn't look like he actually had any damage at that point. I wasn't sure who made contact with him there, with the spray still hindering the vision. As we go into Pico de Pato, looking at this midfield fight for 11th place. And Stuka now starting to get back into that rhythm again, as we have 5 laps to go. Lap 32 of 36 now, and he's got a 2.2 second lead. It's then the Aston Martin Trouser and Brashman down in 3rd place. And Fraser getting himself a 3-second time penalty there. We're looking at 8 drivers out of 17, almost half the grid now, have themselves a 3-second time penalty. No one has any more than that though. Sorry, no. Quix Gamer has a 6-second time penalty. Trouser now having a 3-second deficit to Stuka, who is starting to look comfortable with just over 4 laps to go. And after a lap or two, he was able to find that rhythm again and just start extending the advantage he had before that second safety car. We go on to lap 33 with the race leader now following him, the drivers behind. Bit of a gap is formed. Is Brashman going to let Brad through to hopefully get himself P4? Are they going to work together or not? Fraser very close to the back of Hazard here, who is on the wet tyres. One of 2 drivers still on the wets. Oh, sorry, no, he's the only driver on the wet tyre now. Call Me Our Kid was the other, but he has retired as Fraser thinks about a move at Acida de Largo, but wasn't close enough into the apex as they started turning to the left. And of course, at this point in the race, it's a fine balance. Do we go aggressive, get ourselves some extra points or a podium, or do we think we've got this ourselves this far? Don't take too many risks, as Matt F1 loses a place to Fraser, and then Fraser has a bit of a wiggle on the exit and has to concede the place only seconds after he took it off Matt F1. Here comes Brashman on his teammate. Is he going to go for it down into turn 1? He certainly thought about it. He has got Pigeon behind, who's going to be fighting for that podium as well, with Brad having a 3-second time penalty. And Brashman back through. 3 laps to go. 5 seconds between the top 2. It's definitely Stuka's to lose now at this point. He's almost so far ahead with such little laps to go. He could almost cruise to the finish line at this point. Watching the battle for the podium place, it's really between Pigeon and Brashman, with Brad being the buffer between the two. The rear gunner for his Mercedes teammate is Hazard there. losing grip, struggling in these conditions on the extreme wet tyre. He's deciding now just to go to the end and not lose the time in the pit stop. Was probably the right call at this point as well. And here comes Matt F1 to the inside of Fraser. As we go up the hill, about to start the penultimate lap. This is a time where we may start to see some overtakes. Scotty thought about it, but maybe thinks staying behind is the best option, as he has got a time penalty, and don't take too many risks. Just over 1.5 laps to go in the third round of the season of F1 Power Grid's 9th season. Oh, Zolta had to take evasive action there, as he seems to have made contact at the apex with a fellow driver, and then Arman almost caused an accident himself. Did he brake? Did he lift off the throttle? He may have even brake checked the Haas driver, who's now ahead of him, as Cod and Scotty switch places as we go on to the final lap with the race leader almost 7 seconds in the lead. He's been dominant throughout, even though he spun at around the lap 9, lap 10 mark. He was able to get back up into the race lead, and then a second safety car came out, lost that gap, and he's been able to build it back up again to now over 7 seconds. And this is the moment where he really can just have a bit of a Sunday drive here to the end of the race. Trouser in second, Brashman in third, hoping that his Mercedes teammate will be a buffer for him to hold Pigeon back. I'm sure he will be towards the end. We not long towards the end of this race now, is we may see 1 or 2 more overtakes. We do like to see drag races to the line at Interlagos. It is quite common, but no DRS to help them along, of course, as we go through to Young Cal with the final podium position drivers. We step back to the front and watch Stuka take the race win in the third round of the season at Interlagos with a over 7 second lead at the end. Here comes Trouser to take that second place position. It's 3 different constructors on the podium. It's 4th and 5th for the Scuderias, and Brad, unfortunately, with that time penalty, fell down to and I do apologise, we had a slight disconnect there. We have got it back again. Apologies if that's happened a couple of times. Got to change a couple of settings. I realised after I started there was a couple wrong, and that was why. Anyway, we'll do the final order, and then we'll see where we're at next week. So here's your final order. Stuka takes the race win. Trouser in second. Third place was Brashman. Pigeon was 4th. 5th was Blue and Soul. Brad 6th. 7th Tiny. Scotty in 8th place. Fraser 9th. 10th was Cod. Hazard was 11th. Matt F1 was 12th. 13th was Arman. Zoltan 14th. Ratigan 15th, 16th was Koyx Gamer. Mac and Cheese was the final driver to finish the race, and the DNFs were Bab, Call Me Hard Kid, and Hastonia. They all did not finish the race. So next week it will be the challenge tier that we'll be seeing on All About Racing, and we will be in Spa-Francorchamps, the Belgian Grand Prix, for the 4th round of the season. of this 12 race season. Thanks very much for watching, everyone. It's been fantastic. There's been a load of you that have joined the stream in and out. Thank you very much. I really, really do appreciate it. We'll see you next week. If you're about and like seeing the content on the channel, we'll be back again tomorrow night with a new league. We'll keep that a surprise till tomorrow. And then back again with me and Lee on Saturdays as per usual for worldwide racing. Thanks very much for watching, everyone. It's been an absolute pleasure. Keep subscribing to the channel. If you've been watching All About Racing, third round of the season for the Power Grid Racing League. We'll see you next week on Monday, same time, same place. Thanks very much for watching.